Welcome back into episode 5 of the Between the Lines podcast. Myself and Myron are here.
Hello.
Today's a good day. Today's a big day a little bit. We're talking a lot about baseball, but we always start off with North Central Corner. And so we'll start with North Central football, like always. You said last week it was going to be a tough opponent. I said let's just move on to the next week, and you guys pretty much did. It was 73-0.
Hey, it's a week-by-week thing. You know that.
I know that. It's a week-by-week thing. But just first, 73-0.
It was a good football game.
When you get to like 50 points in the second, going into the second half, is there even a game at that point?
It's a game still going to go on. Everybody else still gets to play. You got a whole second half. When you score 28 points in both the first and the second quarter, like you said, is it a game? I don't think so. But, you got to give that Carroll team their flowers because they still fought all 4 quarters, no matter what the scoreboard looked like. Even though they didn't put up any points, that's the statement to our defense of holding that shutout. That's the first shutout since 2019, and we've been working to achieve that since then. So that is a great testament to that our defense.
I was going to say, it seems like there's a lot of weeks that it should be a shutout, and then you get to the fourth quarter, and it seems like
it's always the last drive for that that opponent that we play. They get lucky, and they almost got lucky, but that young man dropped the ball, so it's all right with me.
We'll take a shutout either way. Luke Lanen was 10 for 12 with 207 yards, 4 touchdowns. It was just a passing day, which as much as I love the ground game of Ethan Greenfield, that offensive line, it was nice to see a lot of passing. Seemed nice.
12 passes.
It's 12 passes before touchdowns for 207 yards.
I think, what was his quarterback ERA? Like 300 something?
It had to be. It does not show here on the North Central website, but it has to be.
It was something crazy.
We need to get that stat. Talk to the stats department.
We'll figure it out. It's all right.
But yeah, it was a very dominating performance for you guys. 73.
All phases of the ball. Offense, defense, special teams. Shout out to Terrence Hill for the opening 92-yard returning kickoff. So hey.
Once it started, last time that happened,
Hey, we don't speak about that. We're not going to speak about it. Nope, Jake, cut it out. I'm done. I don't even want to talk about it no more. But we do have a great opponent next week, Millikan University. They're always classy, so they're definitely going to give us another run for our money. Like you said, it's week-by-week thing. Don't move on. Any opponent is too big or too small.
Yeah, can't really overlook anybody, especially at this point of this stage of the season. Really can't look at anybody like that. You're still on the goal of being the number 1 team. You stay the number 1 team, but
we do have another team in the CCIW this week in the top 25.
Who was it?
WashU has just been ranked number 24 in the top 25. So we now have 3 CCIW teams in the top 25 along with the WIAC. Or WIAC, I don't know how to really say that.
WIAC.
The Wisconsin schools.
I think that, that's a good one for your schedule at least. Another ranked opponent on that schedule so you can, at least rack up maybe those ranked victories, even though there's going to be no debate at the end of the season whether you get it or not. But let's move on to another team that's been dominant all season long. We talk about them so much. The men's soccer club, 3-1 victory over the Carthage. They moved to 10-0-3. 3-0 in CCIW play.
They're dominating.
Dominant.
No losses, 3 ties, and 3-0 in CCIW play. I know they're just getting started with CCIW play. They still have a bunch of games left, but they're on a roll here. They're continuing their dominance from last year, and I think every team on the CCIW should be on fire and put on notice that this Cardinals team is coming to play.
Today, 7:30. North Park.
That's their biggest rival.
Yep. Number 6th ranked North Park comes to town, and this is going to be probably the biggest test and the true test for North Central. If they victory, you ranked at this point?
You should be. I don't know why we're still not ranked, but I don't even think we're ranked top. I think we're top 3 in our
regional,
and that was crazy to me, which is interesting because this team has 0 losses. I understand 3 ties, but I'm 10-0-3. That's not a bad record at all.
No.
You have teams that have 2 losses and are ranked above them, which is just flat out disrespectful.
It is flat out disrespectful. As of games going through October 2nd, they are still not ranked on the United Soccer Coaches Top 25. They're still not ranked. North Park is still 6th. So, I mean, again, need a little bit of a...
We need a big win.
Big win.
I think if we get that big win tonight over North Park, we'll be fine.
You'll be fine. They go on and then face Carroll that next Saturday. So, the next 2 home games for the Cardinals and CCIW play. Then it's the rest of CCIW play all the way up until October 29th until the CCIW tournament. So I can't wait to see what that club has got going on. I mean, this is disrespectful at this point, I feel like.
It is. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. We just got to, continue to prove at the end of the day that we're worth being ranked. That's all I can continue to say for them.
Pretty much.
Well, we should keep this in the realm of soccer.
Okay.
We should go to women's soccer now, who just defeated Carroll 2-0 to improve to 9-1-2. 2 wins in CCIW and 1 tie. I think this ladies' team is on fire as well.
Yeah, this ladies' team is something that can't go overshadowed by that men's soccer club who's been dominant for the past 2 years. This women's team has really come out of nowhere, and at least in CCIW play, they have been dominant. 6-1 victory over Elmhurst. They tied Wheaton 0-0, but then they have come back with a nice victory here this past Saturday over Carthage to nothing. And so, I mean, they got North Park as well on Wednesday. Their North Park team is sadly not ranked, so it's not a ranked matchup for this women's club. But, I mean, they need to be a little bit more talked about, I feel like.
I think they're disrespected, too, a little bit. 9-1-2. That's another, that record shows a testament to how much these girls put in effort each and every day and week to be dominant at what they do. I still think that the Coaches Association should still take a bigger look in the depths, but it's also, like you said, it has to come down to wins with ranked opponents. So I can see why we aren't ranked in both men and women's soccer, but I still think that they're dominating no matter what, that they should get some type of looks.
Yes, some type of looks. Again, they have North Park coming up today at 7 o'clock. They're traveling to North Park. And then Carroll is at 5 p.m. is a Chicago Rush Day. So go out, support North Central. And it's Saturday at home against Carroll. And then let's move over. Let's just stay with the women's. All right, we'll move over to women's volleyball. This team, again, dominant, especially at home.
Oh yeah, they love playing at home.
Playing at home.
I don't think anybody don't like playing at home, but like I told you a couple episodes ago, we make any home our home, and I think that goes for every sport here. We dominate no matter if it's a win, lose, or draw. We're gonna make that place our home, and I think they were dominant here over UW River Falls, winning in four sets. They won 3-1.
And that one set that they did lose was a very close one. It was 23-25, so it could have gone any way. Could have gone either way in that third set. But, I mean, still a very dominant performance, especially in that first set with winning 25-11. So, I mean, if they continue that hot start in that first set of getting that victory by dominant performance, I mean.
25-11 in that first set. Ridiculous. And they're going to continue to dominate. They got Concordia University of Chicago coming up, and then they got the Calvin tournament where they're facing 8th ranked Calvin University, and then as well as number 14th ranked Hope College. This is all in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So they got to travel a little bit this upcoming weekend, but 2 ranked opponents for them is going to be a very true test. Oh, without a doubt. And if they come on the right side of both of those matchups, we should possibly get ranked. I can think so. I mean,
we talked about rankings at least a lot for some of these clubs and some of these programs and stuff for here at North Central. But I mean, it should be noticed that
we are a dominant powerhouse in all of D3 sports. I don't care what you play here. We're on a great uptrend of college sports, and we're continue to show that each year in, year out.
We'll move over. Last one we have today before our guest comes on.
You know what we have to do?
Yes.
We have to get someone from one of those sports on the podcast.
Women's soccer, men's soccer, women's volleyball, or women's tennis.
Women's tennis, for sure.
Speaking of women's tennis, 9-0 victory. Yes, undefeated, 9-0 victory against Augustana. They have now officially clinched a share at their third straight CCIW title. So right now, no matter what happens this upcoming weekend against Wheaton, they will get a CCIW title. But if they beat Wheaton, they will have sole possession of the CCIW title. A little bit mouthful there, but third straight. It's not as much as, you know.
You want to know how many CCIW matchups they've won consecutively?
It's been a lot, right? They've been undefeated for a while.
23 consecutive matchups versus CCIW opponents. They have won. They haven't lost since 2021. That's crazy, especially for a sport like this where it's a lot of individual matchups that you have to play and team matchups. So that is a domination from the coaching staff down to all the players.
Yes, and I can't wait. Hopefully, we can get one of these girls on someday, some upcoming in the future here. But again, 12-0 this season. They've about to clinch their third straight. Hopefully, it's going to be sole possession after this next week, and we get to talk about it on next week's podcast. That this team is the sole possession, the winner of the CCIW title. But either way, I mean, still third straight, even if you're sharing it or individually won, I mean, it's still very dominant, especially throughout this entirety of this season for North Central. Again, their last fall matchup is this weekend against Wheaton. So, and their next matchup after that will all the way be in March, when a lot of other sports will be playing, but they'll be playing once again. One of those sports that plays in March, Myron, is where our guest is from today.
Yeah? Where's this guest from today that we have on?
He's from the baseball field. He's from the baseball diamond. He's won a lot of CCIW championships while he's been here. He's been a leader of that pitching staff. But this man joining us today was our first ever in-person live interview for me and you.
That's crazy.
Very crazy.
Glad to have him back.
About to have him back. We had this interview way earlier this year when the baseball season was going on. He's a graduate here at North Central in his 5th year. Thank God for COVID. Yeah, he's back. In this time on the diamond, he has appeared in 31 games, 22 of them he has started, 166 total innings so far pitched with a 3.31 ERA, and he's 10th all time in strikeouts with 147.
That's going to change.
And he's only a couple away from moving up to 5. I'm pretty much one outing away from moving up to 5th almost in that sort of span. But he's got an all-time record of 11-4. 4 complete games. One of those complete games was the first ever no-hitter, 9-inning no-hitter here at North Central College. So some history that he has made here. That was all the way back on March 14th in 2021 against Spalding. And then right now he is tied for the most shutouts in a career with 3. So, I mean, he's got 1 season left. Hopefully he breaks that and has sole possession of the shutout record. And he had the best relief appearance that I probably have ever seen from a pitcher on short rest in the CCIW tournament last year. This is the Mr. Head of the Finance Club, Ryan Behling. Huh? What's
up, guys?
How's it going?
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. This is going to be fun.
No problem. When we first kind of brought up the idea of moving it to a podcast, you happened to be the first person I was talking to about it, and because you came up to me and were like, anytime you want me on the show, like anytime, I'm like, well, this time it's gonna be a little different. All right, we're gonna be recording. We're gonna be in a basement, and you didn't hesitate and you said yes. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. Honestly, I enjoy doing this with you too. I mean, the first time we did it in studio was a pretty awesome time. So I'm glad you guys have me back here today.
Yeah, hopefully you'll be back on when the season starts. When you guys are rolling at least. Maybe definitely. maybe do a remote from Florida. Never know. Never know.
Never know.
We're trying to get a remote for football playoffs.
We're trying.
We got to talk to a bunch of people though.
If we get approved.
New setting, new whole shebang and everything when it comes down to this stuff. But before we get into anything, Ryan, anything that I missed in that intro?
No, I actually didn't know half that stuff. I mean, I'm standing over here. I'm just smiling. I'm like, man, I didn't even know half this stuff was even true.
The 10th all-time, most career shutout record. You are 10th all-time, but I believe like the next 2 above you is like 148, 149. Like, okay. It's pretty much 1 outing away, and then you're moving up that leaderboard.
Yeah,
you got a long way to go to get to Charlie Clem, though.
Yeah, no, I knew Charlie Clem and Luke Lamb were up there fighting for the number 1 spot. I think Luke's going to take it this year, but I had no idea I was on that list with him. I mean, great company to be with right there. I'm honored because, I mean, those are 2 of the hardest workers I ever met in my life. 2 All-Americans and 2 guys that I admire their play style and their work ethic. So
Something that is kind of funny, though, is that on those lists, it says bold players of returning, right? You know, Luke Lamb and Jason Shanner. You're not bolded on this list.
I'm not bolded on that?
No, you're not. You're not bolded. You are not bolded. You are right here.
That's crazy.
Ryan
We need to
Man,
go talk to somebody about
I
that.
need to talk to Ed about that.
Like, what do you mean they don't know I'm coming back?
Pretty much. But you are back. So, first off, why did you come back? You played 4 years. You graduated. You got the diploma. You got the degree. Why come back?
So when I was younger, I mean, I was looking at schools and stuff, and I always thought to myself that I always wanted to get my master's of business administration eventually. Didn't know when, didn't know where, and it just so happened that COVID happened back in 2019, 2020, and the whole season got shut down. I think we played a total of 6 games that year, and I mean, it actually didn't click that I was gonna try and pursue my master's and play another year until probably about halfway through my junior season. And then Coach Matthew went up and talked to me. He goes, hey, North Central offers a 1-year master's program. Your buddy Tyler Jones is doing it right now, old pitcher on the team. And I was like, man, maybe I'll do it. Like, maybe I'll consider it. Then last year it really came full circle. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to give up baseball just yet. I want to play at least 1 more year, and while I'm doing that, I can further my education, look better on LinkedIn, on Handshake, all those places, just applying for jobs and whatnot. So, screw it. It's a win-win for me, honestly. I want to play another year. I want to be a leader to these young guys. And I just getting more on your education. I mean, you can't go wrong there.
No, not at all.
No, you can't. At least, being more educated, you were the head of the finance club.
I was
a
president,
joke.
yes,
It was a joke at the baseball team. We just always joked around about them. So you talked about looking at certain schools and stuff like that. What made you come to North Central here? What made that decision, that final decision of, hey, this is what, this is where I want to go? Was there other schools? Were there other opportunities where you're like, maybe not North Central?
Yeah, so North Central was the second or third school to actually reach out to me. The first one was Dubuque. They were another visit I took on, and I was there, and I was like, man, I love the baseball facilities. I love all this, but I just don't like being this far away from home. I mean, at the time, I was 18 years old, and I didn't want to be that far away from home. I was like, oh, man, I don't know if I could be 3 hours away, which is how far Dubuque was from my house. And then North Central came calling after I had a summer league game there for high school. And Coach Heller and Coach Matthew reached out to me like, hey, we're interested in you. Like, why don't you come take a visit, have an overnight, see what happens? And the rest is history there. I mean, I stopped taking calls and stuff after. I mean, I was not heavily recruited my junior up until probably my middle of senior year when I started having some success there. And then I had a bunch of other CCIW schools, some of the Wisconsin schools contacting me. And I was like, you know what, I didn't even respond to them, to be honest. And there's no shade there, but I chose North Central, and I came here. And, I mean, the baseball program history, I mean, you see it for yourself. I mean, you got MLB draft guys, Mike Matea, Ken Ritter's on there too. I mean, the history, going to the World Series twice, most recently in 2017, so the year before we actually came in.
Yep.
So just some cool stuff there. I mean, it was the culture aspect too that really got me, as well as I was able to be around the guys, be around the team, see some practices, and I'm like, you know what, this is a winning organization right here. This is a winning culture. And then seeing all the other organizations and sports on North Central's campus, I mean, geez, football, track and field. I mean, they're still winning national championships.
They got 40 of them, man.
And then, as you guys said before, I mean, women's volleyball, women's tennis, men's soccer, women's soccer. I mean, they should all be ranked, honestly. So, I mean, it's just success and great sports teams and winning, especially, is just the culture at North Central. And I've always been a winner. I've honestly think in my whole entire life of playing basketball and baseball, I've been on one bad team. And
really?
It killed me. Yeah, no, I've always been on a winning team. So just the whole culture aspect and the winningness here. Plus, Naperville's awesome, dude. I mean, you guys go out to downtown Naperville here and there. I mean, it's a fun time.
I was there last weekend. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. It's a fun time. I mean,
especially in the winter.
Oh yeah.
When they have the Christmas lights up and it's snowing
Yes.
outside, downtown Naperville's lit.
Oh my gosh! And plus, that's what, like a 40-minute train ride from the city of Chicago.
From the city?
Easy. If I want to go catch a Bears game, a Bulls game, or a Cubs game, I'm not going to go watch any Sox games. But
wait a minute. Cut the podcast. Cut it off. You're a Cubs fan?
Cubs and Rays. I mean, neither of them. Rays just got knocked out. So, but yeah, no, I dislike the Sox.
I'm a White Sox fan, so we got a lot of black blood now. That's tough. It's all right. It's all right.
But yeah, I mean, Naperville is just awesome. I mean, it's such a community feel. I mean, we're literally in the middle of the historic district of Naperville, so houses are on campus.
Yeah,
you literally feel like it's a home, and that's one thing that I love is community and home and all that stuff. So that's what brought me here.
Nice.
Can you speak on a little bit how's baseball, like North Central baseball, had an impact on you since you've been here?
Yeah, I mean. So especially, are you looking for more just as a whole or with the coaches and everything too? Or
you could touch on both if you want.
Okay, as a whole, I mean, it showed me. I mean, my freshman year, I didn't play that much. I traveled to pretty much every game, but I think I got a total of 7 innings, and I learned so much from the older guys and all that because I came in kind of thinking I was top notch. I'm not gonna lie. I think all freshmen do. I mean, you're like, oh, I was the guy in my high school, blah, blah, blah. So you come in a little cocky, had a little.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say it, but
no, seriously, everyone knows it though. And you come in and you get humbled very quickly, and you're like, oh wow, like I can't be the guy here right now. I gotta work my tail off and all that. So when I came in, I matured a lot right away. I learned from the other guy, just taking in every piece of advice, everything about baseball that I could. And then with the coaches too, I mean, man, This is a phrase I just kind of came up with a couple months ago when I graduated. I came into North Central as a thrower, and I graduated North Central as a pitcher. And I think there's two different things. I'm pretty sure you can relate to this being a baseball guy too, is that pitchers at the high school level, you don't know how to hit spots. You don't really know how to play movement unless you're part of the 0.5% that gets drafted out of high school. But for the 99.5% that doesn't, you go in and you're just kind of throwing the ball. And then learning with Matthew being an old pitching coach, now the head coach, and I mean having Stoddard around too, just picking his brain. I mean, he played 13 years at the major league level and
won a World Series.
I mean, won a national championship in basketball too.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
He was him and I believe it's him and is it
Kenny Lofton? I think.
Is Kenny Lofton? Yeah, him and Kenny Lofton are the only two players to go to a baseball and a basketball national championship game to play in both of them. And I think he won. Both of them. I don't know if he won in the baseball.
I don't know about Kenny. I don't know about Kenny, but I do know that Coach Stoddard won both. But yeah, I mean, just picking his brain and stuff, and actually figuring out how to pitch and not just to throw, and honestly, just watching some of the great pitchers in the league, Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, I mean, Walker Buehler, Clayton Kershaw, just watching those guys, and you're like, wow, okay, they're so successful because they're hitting spots and they're playing their movement the right way. As a freshman and sophomore, I didn't know that. As a junior, I started to figure it out more. Last year, I really figured it out, and now this year, I mean, it's my last year here, so I really know it now, and I'm really emphasizing that, especially to the younger guys too. I mean, I didn't know that as a freshman. I didn't have anyone tell me that as a freshman, really, or if they did, I was just ignorant to listen to them. Honestly,
they probably did, and you just didn't listen.
But now, I mean, I just want to give that to the younger guys too. I mean, when you figure out how to pitch, it's a lot different than throwing. You know what I mean by that? That's why I said that. I mean, because freshman, sophomore year thrower, recently I've been a pitcher, learning how to pitch, learning how to strike guys out, or not necessarily strike guys out, but get ground balls in ground ball situations, get fly balls in fly ball situations. There's a lot of mental stuff that goes behind it and executing in certain situations that coming in, I didn't know that North Central and the coaching staff has really taught me.
That's interesting. You just hit me with a lot of information I didn't know, and I'm like, what is he talking about? No, but that's outstanding. You know, there's a lot of aspects to like pitching that I didn't know about. I just thought you threw the ball. Let's be a football guy. To be totally honest, I just thought you all threw the ball and hope they didn't hit it. But like, it's a lot more to the game of baseball than a lot of people realize, and that brings me to my next question. So, how has baseball been an impact on your life?
Oh, geez. I mean, I've been playing it since as long as I can remember. Since I was walking, I've had a baseball in my hand, and grew up watching the Cubs. You know, unfortunately, didn't have great teams. I mean, not World Series teams, but you had the Sammy Sosa era. I mean, you had the Derek Lee, Ramos Ramirez era. Carlos Zambrano, and then went through a few bad years, and then the World Series team. At least in my era, a few bad years. But the thing I love about baseball, and I say this in every job interview that I do too, because if you get a person who understands baseball, you guys can connect like that too, is your Hall of Famers in baseball, your Hall of Famers, so the best of the best, fail 7 times out of 10. They're batting 300, so they're getting a hit 3 out of 10 times. Pitchers, I can't relate it to pitching because I don't know, but for hitting wise, 7 out of 10 times you're failing, which that's the one thing about baseball I love, is that it teaches you how to fail and how to overcome failure, which I feel, and don't take offense to this, some sports can't necessarily do. And I don't know if maybe you have a different mindset with that playing football. I never played football, but with baseball, it's such a mental, it's 80% mental, 20% physical, and the mental toll when you go 0 for 5 in a game, 0 for 4 in a game with 4 strikeouts, 5 strikeouts. You really start thinking differently about yourself. You go, man, should I quit? I'm sure you've been there too.
I have been there a lot.
Oh yeah, and the guys that are successful and the guys that make an impact and the guys that can lead are the ones that know how to take that failure and understand that it's a part of the game. And then once you overcome that aspect, that mental handicap with it, then the sky's the limit.
Your 10-run inning in the summer ball.
Yeah, no, with that one especially. Every pitcher's a bad outing. You're gonna have outings where you let up 10 runs, like I did in that summer ball game.
Yeah.
I was distraught afterwards. I went home and I just sat in my room and I think I just looked at my ceiling for about 4 hours. And then I came back out next game, had a perfectly fine game, did well. But that's the thing about pitching, is that I can relate to pitching wise too. Every outing, you're not going to have your best stuff, and that's what Coach Matthew tells me. That's what Coach Shoutout tells me every single day. I'll come in after my bullpen before the game, and I go, man, my curveball is just not there. And Matthew Matthew especially, he laughs. He gives that little smirk he always gives, and he's like, you're not always going to have your best stuff. You're going to have to find a way to work around that. And you go out there, you find a way to work around it, and that's when it comes in. You got a spot. Like if I don't have my curveball that day, okay, I still have 2 pitches that I can go to. I just got to make sure I'm spotting those every single time.
What do you mean by spotting?
Inside fastball, inside changeup, outside fastball, outside changeup. The same. When you have 2 strikes on the hitter, you don't necessarily, unless it's a 3-2 count, you don't really want to give him anything good to hit.
Okay.
So if I'm going to throw a curveball with 2 strikes, the likelihood is it's going to be down in the way or in the dirt. So spotting in those 2 areas is ideal for that.
Okay.
Myron's getting right now a pitching lesson.
Yeah, I didn't understand spotting. I'm just like, I don't know what you actually mean. So I'm like, why not ask the questions? Because I probably won't be the only person who watches this and think about it like, what does he mean by that?
True.
So I'm kind of glad I asked that question.
So. Speaking of your bad outings and everything like that, let's move into a little bit of a good outing. March 14th. No.
Okay. I was like, I have no idea what date that is.
Man, you don't remember?
I remember the no-hitter. I don't remember the day. The day.
He says that now. He's going to be like 50 years from now. He's like, March 14th, 2021.
I remember because of this podcast.
I know it was like your junior year. You said that you kind of figured it out a little bit, and then you throw a no-hitter, right? First off, I know we talked about it way back last year, and you've probably been talking about it for pretty much any interview that you've given. Walk us through like that sort of moment maybe in that 9th inning where you realize, oh my God, because I remember talking to you a little bit. You were like, I knew it was there. Like I knew it was happening.
Yeah,
no one wanted to talk to me, but I knew it was happening. A little bit. So how was that feeling in that 9th inning a little bit?
Well, I actually knew in the 4th inning. I was very well aware. I was like, man, because I was starting to turn through the lineup, and I go, I don't think this guy's been on base. Like I'm trying to figure out how I beat him the last time he was up. Trying to figure out, all right, I got this guy in deck, I got that guy in the hole. How did I beat them? Like what pitches did I throw to them? And I was thinking to myself, I go, none of these guys have been on base yet. I've beat them every time. So as the game went on, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm still trying to throw to them the same way I was before. And then 9th inning comes around, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I was really nervous. Can I cuss on here? Is that
yeah.
I was kind of shitting my pants. I'm not going to lie to you. I was a little nervous. 'Cause I was well aware. I'm pretty sure the whole entire team was aware too. Well, for the most part. Luke Lane, the quarterback, actually told me that he had no idea until the final out. He said he was wondering why everyone was dogpiling me. He told me that right after the game too, and I was like, all right, Luke.
Luke was like, I wasn't paying attention the whole time.
Goes, yeah,
but, hey,
I mean, as life of a center fielder, sometimes you lose about track of the game.
he was probably looking at a butterfly that was walking past.
Honestly,
How boring the game was.
But yeah, no, I was nervous, and I mean, I wouldn't have been there without the help of my teammates. I mean, Mike Stoltz was the shortstop at the time. I think he made 2 or 3 diving plays.
I was about to ask, what was the...
He made 2 or 3 diving plays. I think the one diving play in the 7th inning, it was 6th or 7th inning, it was middle of the game, he made, and I was like, oh, wow, that's one of the plays that you see on a no-hitter reel, and that's the one that kind of tells you, like, this is...
The defining one. Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I mean, even the last play of the game, too, Luke Gregorio at third base came up and made a running play. It was a bang-bang play, too. I thought he didn't get him at first. I was like, oh, damn, that was close. But, no, if I remember right, I had the top of the lineup up. I think it was my 4th time seeing him. I forget what order it was, but they had an All-American shortstop who was, I'm pretty sure, in their 2-hole. And he had the 2 hardest hit balls off me all day. Like he kind of had my number, but it was a really cold day, so I had some luck on my side. And I had people ask me this after the game because I hit him in that at bat.
Oh,
was it on purpose? And absolutely not. It was not on purpose. But I mean, it paid out because he ended up not scoring. I still got the no hitter. But I mean, facing him, once I got around him, I knew I had the other guy's number because the other guy after him, I'm pretty sure, I struck him out every time, and I made him look silly the whole entire game. So I knew I had that guy beat. It was the All-American guy who was up, who I accidentally hit. I did not purposely mean to do that whatsoever either. It just so happened to be that way. Just a fastball ran inside on him. But yeah, no. Once I kind of got past him, I was like, okay, these next 2 guys, they haven't got any good contact off me. So
Right.
From then on, it was smooth sailing. The last out, I do remember. I think I started the guy off 1-0, 2-0. I was nervous.
You were?
I was nervous. The fans started getting into it, and my dad and my grandpa were there too. So I was like, man, I mean, they get to see this and stuff too. I was a little kid. You dream of that. And then really weak contact from what I remember. Luke made a great play at third, bang, bang play at first. And it happened. And I remember I looked right to the dugout immediately. And Colin Wheelbacher, who was my guy, he was, 2 years older than me. He also did the graduate program. Here at North Central and played a 5th year. He was cheering me on the whole entire game. That whole entire year, actually, he was my number 1 fan. And I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did that year without him. So, Colin, if you're watching this somewhere, thank you for that. And he was the first guy out of the dugout. I mean, he was maybe 5 feet from me when I turned around. Really? He was sprinting out. He was the first one to dogpile me. And I was like, man, this is awesome. So that stuff I remember is seeing my teammates' reactions and stuff too. I was like, man, this is sweet. Like, we can all do this together, you know? Because, I mean, Colin was the first one out there. I mean, I've never had someone cheer for me so hard before like him. I'm like, man, this is really what a team is about. This is really what I came to North Central for, was that culture. It's community winning culture. So that was a really cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, you had your best year.
Yeah.
You would have to say.
Yeah. No, yeah. Last year, I mean, I didn't do bad, but it wasn't great by any means.
Yeah, it didn't start off really great.
No, it started off really bad, actually.
Really bad. I remember that. But later in that year, we get to the CCIW tournament. You go through the, your first game, shutout performance. It was like it was run ruled. It was like 7 innings, right? And it was great. And then we get to that championship game. Did you know you were going to pitch that day?
I knew there was a possibility I was going to pitch. I came up to Stoddard and Matthew beforehand, and I go, listen, like, if you need me for 2 innings, I'm good to go. Okay. Like, I'm good for about 30, 40 pitches. And I think I ended up throwing like 5 1/3 out of relief. And I think as many pitches in that relief outing as I did the game previous. I mean, I was on, I think, 1 day rest, and I threw just as many, if not more, pitches than the game I started and threw 7 innings in. So before the game, I knew. I was like, hey, if you guys need me, if it comes to it, put me in at the end of the game. Like, I got this. Like, put the team on my back. And then all of a sudden, I got the call, and I go, oh, shit, it's actually happening. I'm like, oh, my God, okay. So I go out there, and the first inning, I think I actually let up a run. Like, I did not. My arm was still sore. The adrenaline hasn't really kicked in yet.
You did give up 1 earned run, but that was the only one.
I think it was in the first inning, too. And so I was like, damn, man. Like, I went out there with all this confidence. I ended up not doing it. And then we scored, I think, 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th or bottom of the 8th, whatever it was. I forget which inning I went out there in.
The 9th.
It was the 9th, yeah. And then I was like, okay, my team's got my back. I'm going to have their backs. And then went out there, and I think I threw to, the 14th or 15th inning?
Yeah, you went to the 14th. You went 5 1/3, and then Lamb came in, and Lamb's not a relief pitcher, so he unfortunately got thrown into a bad situation.
No, I mean, and the thing is that I know I'm really close with Luke Lamb, and I know that he really took that game to heart. Because at that moment in time, we didn't think we were getting into the playoffs. We thought that was our only shot. I mean, we ended up getting into it, so it was all fine. But I know he really took that loss to a heart because, I mean, he was our All-American. He was the guy of the team for, the last 3 years.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he came in and let up the home run that they ended up winning on. But our team, we had, I threw 5 1/3. I think in 4 of those 5 innings, we had runners in scoring position with less than 2 outs. We had every opportunity in the world
to win that game.
In multiple innings. And it just so happened that it didn't work out that way, and Luke Lamb got the loss. And I know that he was really beating himself up for it. And I went up to him after the game. I don't know if you remember it. He was going through a bunch of emotions, but like, dude, that is not your fault. Do not, like, what you have done for us this year, what you have done for us in the last 3 years. I mean, dude, you're the reason we're here right now. Without you, we're not here.
No,
and in this position. And
you also think about it like in baseball terms, like it's one pitch. Like you get rid of that pitch. It was
literally one pitch.
You throw that maybe an inch more in or an inch more away, right? Like he misses it, and he doesn't hit a homer. And we're sitting probably going to the 16th inning at that point, or hopefully we win it in that.
No, I mean,
14th.
That kid just got a lucky barrel on it, and it just so happened that the wind was kind of blowing out that day. I mean, because you don't see a lot of home runs in North Central hit.
No, especially
a big with the wind too, always blowing in from right center. But yeah, no, it was just right time of the day with the wind blowing out, and just a pitch that just hung in there a little bit too long. But hey, I mean, the one thing that I love about Stoddard is that whenever you come in from giving up a home run, if it's especially a solo shot too, you always say like solo shots are not going to beat you if you're not pitching enough. You haven't given up enough home runs. Right. So I mean, it comes with the game. You're going to give up home runs. I mean, look what Luke Lamb did his next outing. He went up against Stevens Point, who we let up I think 40 something runs to in 2 games.
Yeah, it was not good.
We played him in 3 So yeah, we played him in the 3-game series in the regional. Luke Lamb went out against them for game 1. Shut him down. I mean, I think he had 9 strikeouts, and this team was leading all Division III, I think, in home runs.
Mm-hmm. They led
batting average.
They led in like Division III. They had like one of the best players in Division III baseball.
Dude, they had the best offense I've ever seen in my life.
That's
eight
great.
strikeouts. He only gave 4 hits, 7 innings, dominant. Didn't give up a run. You guys won 8-2 that game, and then you guys ended up going in.
Yeah, but I mean,
Really
think about it that way too. I mean, that's the thing I love about baseball is that, in quotes, like, you failed against Augustana, and then you come back and you have the opportunity to learn from that loss, redeem yourself, and really take in what you learned from that loss and what you did all season to come in against the best offense in Division III and shut them down. I mean, you said 8 innings, 0 runs?
7.
7 innings, 0. I mean, shit, dude, that's
really good.
Wild, especially what they did to us the next 2 games too. I mean, you're looking around and you go, man, Luke Lamb's, he's a guy.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's also back.
He is also back.
Yeah,
he's also back.
Let's talk a little bit more about this year. By the way, you did throw more pitches in that relief outing. You threw 77, you threw 70 in your complete game shutout. So yeah, you came back on 1 day's rest and threw 140 pitches. 140 something pitches in 1 day's rest.
Your arm was definitely on fire.
That's why I call it like the best relief performance I've ever seen out of a pitcher.
Yeah, no, thanks to the great athletic training staff we have here at North Central. I know you two can both relate to that too. I mean,
I was in there every day, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Brittany James, she took care of me all year and my junior year as well. And I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be playing if it wasn't for the help of her and all the other athletic trainers out there. Honestly, I mean, they're so great here at this school, and I can't thank them enough. I mean, they got me ready to throw in the regional. They got me ready to throw out of relief that day. Because honestly, without the trainers, I would not have been able to go.
I remember walking into that sort of CCIW tournament. I was like talking. I remember because I was calling that game, and so I showed up and we were talking, and it was like, okay, we got to wait to see who we're facing at this point. And I remember like walking back in the locker room, and everyone was like quiet. And I was like, wow, like, okay, everyone's like locked in and ready for this game. And then I walked over to you and I was just like, so you going to go or something? And you're like, I got to go talk to Brittany. I got to go do my whole routine. I go, I'll let you know though. And then, you eventually gave me the nod, like, yeah, I'm going to go. And I was like, all right, let's do this thing. And I tell you, I mean, that was probably one of my favorite calls to have too. Is those last couple innings, and you didn't strike out a lot of guys that game, by the way.
No, I think I had like one strikeout.
I think it was like one strikeout.
I think I only had one strikeout.
Let's take a look. Yeah, you only had one strikeout.
Yeah,
and
no,
I remember it was the end of an inning strikeout too. I believe it was the last batter you faced. I believe it was a strikeout,
honestly.
and it was. I mean, it was dominant because everyone was like, "All right, momentum's in our favor." And then we went out there. I think we grounded like a double play, and it just did not go our way. And then we saw Luke come out, but yeah, that's why I still say that was probably the best relief performance I've probably ever seen.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Hopefully we don't have to do that again this year.
No, let's get done in 9 innings and win it.
Yeah. But let's talk about a little bit this year, coming into this year. First off, play summer ball. Went through all that?
Yeah, I did play summer ball. I played down at the Corn Crib for the normal ground sloths. I always have trouble saying that.
Ground
sloths.
Ground sloths.
Yes, I don't know if I ever say it right.
It's this thing that moves really slow, right?
Yes, it's sloth.
Sloth.
It always rolls off my tongue wrong, But yeah, I played for them down at the Corn Crib. I think I only threw like 16 innings in total, but I had a really, really good summer, honestly.
That's good.
Played with some really good guys and faced against some good talent.
Then coming into this fall, you got shut down this fall a little bit.
I did, yes.
Is it just because of you pitching a lot, or was it more so we know what he's got, so let's just save him?
No. So actually, I was full go. I was ready to have a full fall coming in. Through my first bullpen, I threw really well. Through my second bullpen, and I'm like, man. I mean, there was like about 3 or 4 days later, I'm like, man, like my arm is incredibly tight. Something I haven't felt in 5 years when I had an inflamed labrum going into North Central. And I'm like, man, this stinks. So immediately hooked up with the trainer, saw Brittany, Dr. James. Sorry, she's gonna slap me.
She's gonna be a little upset. She's gonna be upset knowing Dr. James.
Yeah, saw her. Saw Ben Coletti. He's a great guy. He's helped me out this whole entire fall. But had bicep tendonitis, upper bicep tendonitis. So it was this muscle right here that led up to my shoulder. So it was the bicep tendon that was going into my shoulder, so it was starting to affect all my other shoulder muscles. So I was originally shut down for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Was doing PT stuff, probably 3-4 days out of the week. Was going in twice a week, and then did some stuff on my own. And it started to feel a lot better. Got cleared to throw. Threw a bullpen. I felt good. I felt a lot better than what I did beforehand. But then I talked to Coach Matthew and Coach Stoddard, and they're like, listen, we're just going to shut you down for right now. We don't want to risk prolonging this injury or hurting you even more if, let's say, because, I mean, I was pissed. I'm not going to lie to you. Especially my fifth year. It's my fifth fall, and I go, man, dude, like, I want to be out here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I don't want these freshmen to think that or these sophomores that don't know me that well, that I'm taking the easy way out.
Yep.
I mean, that's just a bad look as an upperclassman, in my opinion, especially as one of the leaders on the team. So I wanted to be out there. I wanted to be with them. And, I mean, I was still doing drills and stuff that I could do, but you can only do so much if your arm's not going to be working.
Right.
So, but, yeah, no, I mean, I was in a lot of pain, and it sucked. I'm not going to lie. But I'm all good now. I threw against live hitters the other day, threw well. Arm feels great. So shout out to the athletic trainers again for helping me out there. But yeah.
So, going into this fall, new freshman, new group, right, comes in every single year. How do you feel? How do you feel with the team, huh? Because, like, lost some guys.
Yeah.
Not really, but a couple.
I mean, we always lose guys year in and year out. That means something to the program.
Not as much as, like, it will be next year. The amount of guys that will be they'll be gone. Just because of COVID and everything, you're able to come back. And a lot of guys did take that fifth year. So, losing a couple of guys, but you're bringing in this nice group of freshmen. I've heard a lot about this freshman group, though.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, they all passed the eye test for me.
Really?
And if they are overall probably the best freshman group that has been brought in my now 5 years being here. So, I mean, I'm holding them to high standards. I mean, I'm not going to be easy on them. I'm not going to be some a-hole out here, though, but I mean, I'm going to definitely teach them the culture and the way that they have to be to win in this program and succeed in the CCIW and so on. But no, they're really good. I mean, we got some guys that are going to compete for some spots, I think.
Really?
I think they're going to light a fire underneath some of the upperclassmen's butts and stuff, and hopefully it sparks some because we kind of need it. But I mean, there's a few good pitchers that I could see getting some really quality amount of innings on a varsity level. I think there's a few position players that may even crack the starting rotation. I was talking to Ed actually the other day, and this is like probably the third time I've asked him. I go, Coach Matthew, I have no idea what you are going to do with this lineup. I go, there's some good freshmen. There's, great guys from last year too, and I'm like, I don't know what you're going to do. And he's
it's a good position to be in.
Yeah, he said it's a great problem to have, which it's a very fortunate problem to have because not all schools can say that they have probably 4 or 5 freshmen that can come off the bat and play right away and make an impact. So I'm really high on them. I think they're going to be good for us this year.
You know one thing, the football coaches always say this. You can control 3 things as a person that's already been in college. For not to allow an 18-year-old to come take your spot, you can control 3 things. It's to be stronger than them, faster than them, and give more effort to them. So if you're a person and you've already been in college and you allow an 18-year-old to take your spot, you didn't do multiple of those 3 things. So like you said, it's a great thing to have because regardless of who's in front of them, that the person behind them can step up and do the same job, either better or to the standard of where that person was. Yeah,
and honestly, that's just what I really wanted to show these freshmen this fall too. That to a point I was unable to do because of my arm, but when it came to conditioning stuff, like I always made a point that I wanted to be in the top 3 that finished and everything, just to kind of show them like, hey, like just because my arm's hurt and I'm injured or something doesn't mean I'm going to take an easy way out.
Right.
I wanted to be one of the first 3 done in all the conditioning drills. I wanted to be the first one to show up to practice. I wanted to help with the field every day. I wanted to help put stuff away. I wanted to show the freshmen what to do and what the standards are here. That's the one thing, too, about baseball is that you're not on time if you show up 15 minutes before a game. On time is 30 to 45 minutes before you have to be there.
Right.
Because when you show up, you're expected to start your stretch lines right away. Especially as a pitcher, I got to do bands. I got to do my core velocity belt. I got to do plyo ball drills. I got to do all that stuff to get my arm warm. So you got to show up early because when it comes to practice time, we only get, 2 hours, 3 hours a day?
Guaranteed.
Only for, I think it's only 16 days the NCAA allows us in the fall.
I think it's something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I know other programs don't
They hold
do
us
that.
to
but
crazy.
Yeah. So we only get 16 days, 3 hours a day. I think round is what you can be there unless it's a game. So you come in there, and that 3 hours is very valuable. So you got to get there before and stay after and stuff. And that's what I really wanted to show the freshmen and what I want to be as a leader is show them, like, as an upperclassman, I'm willing to put in the extra mile. I'm willing to do the work. You guys ride it with me.
Yeah.
Like I'll lead us, and I'll help guide you guys, but you guys got to ride it with me, and you guys got to want it as bad as I do. Because if you want it as bad as I do, that's when we're going to succeed. And I'm sure you can see that with football too.
Yeah.
When everyone's bought in, you guys are a lot better team.
Definitely. You don't go undefeated or you don't win a bunch of games without being locked in as being a one unit, and that goes for all sports. Like you said, it all starts with that leadership that you keep harping and going back to. So I hope those guys are taking notes and they continue to grow off that regardless, and they see that you started that leadership and that's the standard, and that's you all's standard. Continue to push and to thrive to get better each day.
Yeah, and that's from the guys before me as well. It just didn't hit me one day. It's being close to the coaching staff. It's being close to older guys too that are already out of the program, very successful in the real world, who were my leaders here on the baseball team, and taking a little bit from each one of them to try and create this one thing that I can try and be. And so basically I'm taking all the good things and learning from the bad things that each one of them did. And, well, not bad things, but things I think they could have improved on that I think I can kind of improve on in that aspect and do that to the younger guys. Because, the leaders that you have as a younger guy really make or break your experience with the program and at the school.
Very true.
Because if you have good leaders and you have people that actually care for you, that are older and that are willing to go out of the way to help you and stuff, that's what makes the culture good.
Yeah, I was going to say that kind of all changed too. Like about around our freshman year here, we heard stories from North Central baseball of like the older group with the younger group and how like different it was and how it was pretty much like 2 teams on 1 team. And so when we got there as freshmen, we were hearing things that all the seniors were had to do as freshmen and all that, and all of everything pretty much as a younger core. And so they're like, we're changing that. And so that kind of all changed, and now you guys have taken on a whole new level with it, pretty much. And so that's good. Has anyone raked the warning track yet?
What is that?
So the warning track around the baseball field. We usually always get one freshman a year. We'll not really pick out of it. It's just more so we just call them out and go, hey man, they want the warning track raked. And you just take a rake out there. It doesn't need to be raked. It never needs to be raked. But there's always one freshman that bites it and goes and does it. And then we'll sit there and just watch him. And then till Coach Heller comes out and is like, all right, are you guys done yet? And then we'll all be looking and laughing at the freshman raking the warning track.
I think there was someone that did it this year. I can't remember who
Did you
it
guys
was.
get somebody?
We might have. Oh, damn.
It's got to be a tradition at this point. Every year there's been a freshman that's done
usually
it.
we get
crazy.
someone into the tarp we have to cover our field, how there's a big plastic tube. We usually get one of the freshmen to go in there.
Yeah, we have to do that one too.
Every year I try and get a freshman who I know I can try and convince to go in there and be like, hey, we need you to get some in here, and then we roll it while they're in there.
Our freshman year was Rios.
Our freshman year was Rios. I think last year was Corbett, actually. I think
Corbett.
Was it 2 years ago? Corbett did it? Yeah, we got Corbett to do it.
Yeah.
He's gullible.
So, yeah, no, it's all good stuff. I mean, it's just fun things.
It's just teasing stuff.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not.
definitely.
We do it for, I think, maybe 2 seconds. The whole team gets a laugh. He comes out, he's laughing. He goes, man, I can't believe you guys convinced me to do that. Because at the end of the day, it's their fault. Like,
Yeah, but you didn't have to.
You got in there.
You
Who told you to get in the tube? You decided to get in the tube.
did. You decided to get into it. Before we move on to MLB playoffs, any sort of goals this year, like statistic goals, or is it just more of leadership kind of goals? Because you've been talking about leadership a lot, so I didn't know if there was goals of, if you have both, you have both, but what's kind of the goals going into the season in this year?
So I would say, and I'm going to relate this back to your question too. So my junior year, I came in, and I was really the first year that I made an impact on the team. I was very goal-oriented with the team, not myself.
Okay.
Last year, I was still the same way, but I kind of understood, okay, like I kind of made a name for myself. And I think looking back on it now, I mean, in the moment, I didn't know this, but looking back on it now, being able to reflect, I think I was a little selfish last year when it came to my goals. And I didn't look at the team goals nearly as much as I did my previous year. So I think I obviously I set goals for myself every year, and but I wouldn't say they're stat-wise.
Okay.
I mean, everyone loves their stats. Everyone looks at their stats after the game. But, I mean at the end of the day, if we're winning games, I can get over myself. Because, I mean, at the end, it's my last year. I want to win.
Right.
So to lead that into the question you asked, I would say this year, they're pretty much all team stuff. I'm going to be honest, I haven't thought about any personal stats this year for myself. I definitely want to get past the regional this year and not lose the way we did. Win the conference championship. So we've won conference, 7 years in a row now?
7 years in a row.
So 7 years in a row, but we lost the conference championship to get the free bid.
Mm-hmm. We haven't gotten the automatic bid, I think, since our freshman year.
Yeah, because COVID our sophomore year, and then junior and senior year, we lost in the conference championship game, literally in extra innings and in the 9th inning.
Yep.
So it was the 9th inning my junior year, extra innings last year. So it's been 2 heartbreaking conference championships. So win that this year. Make it to regionals again. Win the regional this time. I mean, the goal at the every year is go to the World Series. I mean, this team is. We have the talent. I say that every year, but I genuinely mean it this year. Our pitching staff is deep, with Shanner coming back too. I mean, we got a COD transfer, College of DuPage, Anthony Ranieri. I mean, he's a stud. Really? He fits in with us perfectly. Just great mesh with the program and with the pitching staff. I mean, we're all goofy in our own ways. I mean, it's how pitchers are, but.
Yeah, we're kind of interesting people.
Definitely, yeah. No, I definitely think in a way we are. And everyone that plays baseball knows that pitchers are always in their own world. So
yeah,
we kind of do our thing. It's just like pitchers and the hitters. Pitchers and the hitters.
Yeah, it's pitchers and hitters. I remember one of the first practices I started, I got a baseball. It was all ripped up, and I was pulling apart the baseball. It was one of my first practices of becoming just strictly a pitcher. And Coach Heller walked over and was, "You've really taken over the PO mindset, huh? Just taking apart a baseball, huh? What if we needed that baseball?" I was like, it was all ripped up, man.
Yeah, no, I think I ripped up probably about 30 baseballs since being a PO.
It's kind of just something to...
It's fun. No, it's enjoyable.
Fun.
You get a little bouncy ball in the middle, but yeah, I mean, but I think it's more back to what I can leave, not as a personal legacy, but what I can leave on the younger guys as a whole. I mean, because I still talk to younger guys about some of the old guys that have came through this program. I still refer to them by their names as if they know them, when in reality they have no idea who I'm talking about. But don't necessarily want to be that person they talk about, but I want to be able to teach them and show them a culture and learn and let them learn a winning way through what I'm going to be able to give to the team and what I want to give to the team. I don't know if that makes sense.
That makes sense. So you want them to kind of be like, at one point when they're older, they'll be like, oh, Ryan Behling taught me this, and have that sort of conversation, and then have that freshman go, I have no idea who Ryan Behling is.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But they know who you are because of the legacy of just like the leadership of person, like taking them under your wing and kind of teaching them like, this is how you do it. This is how we have done this program for the last 4 years, and we want to keep this up. We don't want, one day to come back here and be like, what happened to the North Central baseball program?
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, first impressions last forever. Oh, yeah. And your lasting legacy is not always left on the field, but left in the locker room. And like you said, you're left with that forever. It's like you're going to be remembered for the person you are more than the player you are sometimes. So, and I can see that.
No, yeah. I mean, especially the Division III level, too. I mean, you're not going to get many guys that are drafted out of here. So people aren't always going to remember you for the type of performance you put on the field. I mean, yeah, people are going to be like, oh, yeah, that guy was a stud. He was good, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, at the end of the day, what are you taking away from baseball is the friendships and relationships that you formed. And you're going to be close, and you're going to talk about and still talk to those guys that you formed those close relationships to. And that's the thing I love about baseball, too, is that you're at the field for 4 hours easily. That's a quick day.
Yes, that is a quick day.
3-4 hours. So, I mean, especially the pitching staff, if you're a starter like I am, or if you're a reliever and you pitch the day before and you know you're not going in, I mean, you just get a bag of seeds and you just hang out and chit-chat with everyone. I mean, it's
pretty much.
You just cheer on your teammates. But yeah, I definitely want to have goals as a leader this year to just really show them the winning way, show them a strong culture, and have them carry that forward to the younger guys. Because, I mean, next year, the freshmen are going to be teaching the sophomore stuff.
Right.
And the sophomores now, who are going to be juniors, are going to be teaching the sophomores and the freshman stuff. So I just want to...
Next year is even a bigger point of view just because you're losing fifth year and the seniors because they don't have...
seniors do.
Seniors do?
Yeah,
seniors were freshmen COVID year.
The 2020 class is the last class
Yes.
that can get their fifth year next to COVID. Everybody else, once you're done, you're done.
Yeah.
Unless you get like something crazy and you can get that fifth year eligibility. But yeah.
But yeah, they, in 2 years now, that program's going to lose a lot. So
totally, yeah. No,
having that ability to leave that lasting legacy of leadership and understand this is how it's done.
Yeah, so definitely. Just especially with the younger guys too, because the older guys, they like the juniors and seniors now, being a fifth year, you can rely on the juniors and seniors to also help you. They're going to be there for another year or two at least. So you can give them stuff, but you really want to focus on the freshmen and sophomores too, because as a freshman and sophomore, you're in there and you go, oh man, this is a fifth year. I mean, it's kind of intimidating as a freshman to see a guy that's 22, 23 years old, and you're just like, oh man, I'm 18 years old. Like, this guy could be my older brother. So just forming relationships with those guys especially. 'Cause, I mean, you already have relationships with the juniors and seniors because you've been their teammates for 3-4 years now.
Yep.
These freshmen, it's their first time here. It's their first gig. I mean, as much as I'd say, like, I'm old. Like, I'm an old guy of the program now. I've been here for now 5 years, so I kind of know what's expected and what goes out. So what I can give them, that's what I want my legacy to be and what my goals are going to be.
Completely forgot. How did the Red Black series go, huh? Did you win? As a coach?
My team lost as a coach. It was the most competitive Red Black series I've had since being here. Each game was...
What about the year I hit a walk-off, huh?
Each game was decided by 1 run.
Okay.
Actually, except for game 3.
That was my only highlight. That's why I want to bring it up. That's why I want to bring it up. Was my only highlight. Hit a walk-off.
Cole Memorial hit a walk-off game 2. Shout out Cole. He was on my team. Hit a double, walked it off.
Nice.
Nice. Won it for... what color? We were the red team.
You're the red team?
What color we were. We were the red team.
That's always competitive.
Yeah.
Last year, I think it was last year. No, the year before we put it on the radio. So this year we just didn't do it because football was going on. We had other sports and stuff going on. But I remember it being on radio was pretty cool. But yeah, so that went good. All good. I know we lost. Don't want to talk about it.
We saw. It's just friendly teammate banter, It's just we're going back and forth. We're just talking shit to one another. But it's in the end of the day, it's all healthy stuff. But no, I saw a lot of certain guys that I really wanted to step up, and I saw a lot of certain freshmen that I was like, okay, and to go on your point, earlier what we talked about is, there's some freshmen that can play. there's some freshmen that may crack this starting lineup if some of these upperclassmen don't really grind this little off season we have right here until we start practice again. I mean, these freshmen are good, and I hope it lights a fire in some of the guys as it is me. I mean, it's getting me excited to start this season. So
I can't wait. 6 a.m. practices still?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You see, I don't know what time.
6 a.m.
I don't know what time football practices. What time?
Well, during the off season, we're in the mornings, but
What time in the mornings?
6 a.m.
Okay. So you're also
But
6
during the season, we're middle of the day.
Okay, that's not bad. I mean, I don't know. I enjoy waking up early. I'm an early morning person.
hated it.
I start my day at 4:30, 5 o'clock every day in the morning. So I love it.
If push come to shove, I would rather get it out the way, be done with my day, and be like, okay, I don't have practice. Now I can relax and be able to have my body relax, than wake up and be like, I got practice later in the afternoon. Now I'm going to be sore and not truly be able to recover because now I'm about to do homework right after practice. So it's just a lot. So, yeah, I'd rather have it in the morning personally.
See, I'm one of those people that, like, when I'm initially waking up, I'm like, why am I doing this? And then I get there, go through a little bit, and I'm like, all right, like, whatever, it's whatever. And then I'm out of there, and I'm like, man, I got the whole day for myself. But it's always like it repeats every morning. Every morning I wake up, I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Why am I doing this?
Right.
Is this really worth it? And that's why I'm not there this year. That was one of the main reasons why I didn't want to come back. I was like, 6 a.m. practice is not doing it.
It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone, but I
mean, it was for me for about 4 years, and I realized all I need is one class, and I'm done. I'm good.
I thoroughly enjoy early morning practices. I love being up there. I mean, you're not going to see me being all loud and crazy like some of the guys. I'm not going to be that. But I'm going to be there. I'm going to be working my ass off early that morning. You may not hear a lot of words from me because I still got to wake up on my own. But I love being there.
Yeah, we had 6 a.m. practice after we went to the Bulls game.
You was playing crazy. I don't know what you was thinking. I wouldn't have went to the Bulls game.
How do you think I felt?
I'd have been like, look, you can take tickets with somebody else. We ain't going.
No, it was fun. Okay, so now let's actually get into playoff baseball.
The Mets suck.
Unless you have anything else, Myron.
Jeez, the Mets choked.
Mets really choked.
Choked.
Yeah, a couple teams
Cardinals
choked.
did too,
A couple teams choked.
That made me so happy being a Cubs fan. You have no idea.
Wow.
Seeing Pujols and Yachty go out like that. That sounds terrible. I know a few of my friends are diehard Cardinals fans, but with how much they were talking this year about Pujols this, Pujols that, Yachty this, Yachty that. I mean, it was cool to see Pujols get 700. I mean, cap off to him. That's incredible. No, I've never seen that before. That's really cool. Good for him. All
he would have
respect in the world.
broken. Me and Jake talked about this on a couple episodes ago. He would have broken. Who holds number one? Barry Bonds.
Yeah, Barry Bonds.
He would have broken
Barry Bonds
that.
is my home run.
He would have broken that within the last 2 years if it wasn't for COVID and him being hurt. He would have broken
totally.
this year.
I mean, it also would have helped if he didn't just play in L.A.
That too.
That's also true.
Him doing the Angels was bad.
It was real bad.
The Angels just gave him money. That's all it was. He didn't play for them.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, I got some of the accolades out of the way. Got a World Series champ. Let's just go get money.
No, that's a good point. I agree with that.
Let's really kind of dive into this, though. I guess we'll start with the Cardinals and Phillies series. Been talking about it a little bit. Phillies came back in a very, Ryan Helsley, right?
I think it's Helsley.
Helsley. Cramped his fingers trying to throw, and then he ended up getting like finger cramps, and then he ended up leaving the game after he
needs some pickles. Get him some pickle juice.
Pickle juice.
Pickle juice help with cramps.
I didn't know that either.
I did not know that either.
I would have just said liquid IV or Gatorade or something.
Yeah.
Liquid IV, pickle. If you're ever cramping and you're a true athlete, you know that pickles help. They're not true athletes. I'm just saying.
We're pitchers.
I guess we're pitchers. We're both two-sport athletes in high school, but I guess we're not athletes.
Yeah.
It's whatever. No, so Phillies choked it because Ryan Helsley came in. He ended up cramping his fingers. I mean, he hit a guy. He walked another guy. He just came to bases loaded, and then they ended up scoring 6 runs. And then the next day, Phillies kind of took over a little bit. And I mean, first off, they didn't pitch Adam Wainwright.
Yeah, that was weird.
They didn't.
I don't know.
I think they were saving him for game 3
with the hot hands or what. But I was a little confused by that as well. I didn't understand. I mean, he's been arguably your best pitcher for the last 20 years. So just put him out there, man. He's a vet.
This is his. That would have been his last game. I would have started him in game 2.
In game 2, I would have done the same. But they move on. They face the Atlanta Braves. As much as this is great. Phillies have 2 great starters. I mean, you talk about game 1, game 2 for them. I believe Wheeler may be going either game 1 or game 2. But you talk about game 2 and 3 with Wheeler and Nola. That's going to be great pitching duels, great pitching matchups. But I don't see them winning without those two in the bump.
Yeah, I mean, what's the other half of their staff looking like? I forget. Is anyone healthy or hurt? But
I don't think anyone is injured for them. But I know they're not good.
I think Suarez is starting game 1. I saw that on. I could be.
Yeah, Suarez is starting game 1.
Starting game 1. I mean,
game 2 is going to be Wheeler.
Okay.
Game 3 will most likely be. Yeah, it's going to be Aaron Nola. So there's their first 3.
I mean, if they can steal game 1 and then have Wheeler and Nola game 2 and 3, good luck.
Yeah, you're going to
Good
struggle.
luck. That'll be interesting. I mean, Wheeler's been fun to watch, but I mean, who do they play? The Braves. I mean,
Braves.
Hottest team in the second half of the year since the All-Star break. Get that hat on. That's a cool hat, though.
It is a cool hat. I got to root for somebody. Now my team choked it too. So, Max Fried is who they're facing.
Fried's a dog.
Fried is an absolute dog. I'm saying game 1 is going to go to the Braves. I think game 2 you could potentially see go to the Phillies with Zach Wheeler in the bump, but it's also going to be Kyle Wright. So I think this might be the lowest scoring series out of everybody.
Is Kyle Wright having a good year? I haven't followed the Braves a whole lot.
Kyle Wright had a 3.19 ERA and was 21-5.
He was 21-5?
21-5.
Okay, that's the quietest 21 win season I've ever
Very
heard.
quiet. 174 Ks and a 1.16 whip.
21 wins?
21 wins.
Yeah, that was a very quiet year because I didn't even hear nothing about that.
To be honest with you, when I said when I first noticed it, that was the first thing I noticed. It was like, wow, 21.
Wins.
Yep, 21 wins.
Wow, and all you're hearing about Spencer Strider and Max Fried and Morton being 38 and still finding ways to win games. I did not know Kyle Wright had 21 wins.
Yeah. So he's got, 21 wins. That's going to be probably the lowest scoring duel out of everything.
Mm-hmm. I'm afraid for the Braves bullpen, though. I think Jansen's kind of been up and down all year.
Jansen's been up and down. Will Smith has been up and down.
Yeah.
I know that they've had like great starts or great like relief outings, and you're like, oh, they're back, and then it's like,
you're like, 3 runs with no outs.
Yeah, it's like,
cool.
Nice. But I do have to say, if I have to really kind of look at this series, I think I'm going to go with the lineups on this one. And the Atlanta Braves lineup is just so much better than the Philadelphia Phillies lineup that I think that they can, at least in those pitching duels, that this Braves team could, at least strike one first.
Question.
Yeah.
How did our picks do?
For our wild card?
Yeah. I know we talked about it. I don't know. We didn't address it.
So I went 1-3. I went 1-3 with the wild card. I had the Mets.
He's the baseball guy.
I had.
I don't think I did any better though.
I had the Mets. I had the Cardinals. I had the Guardians, and I had the Blue Jays. You went 2-2. You had the Guardians, the Mariners, the Cardinals, and the Mets.
I don't know why I didn't pick San Diego.
What's unfortunate too is I had the Phillies, and I changed it like the last second before the first pitch went. I texted Myron. I said, I need your picks, and so he sent me his picks, and I sent him my picks, and then the moment I texted him, I had in the box, I had Guardians, Blue Jays, Phillies, Mets. And then he sent me his, and he went Cardinals, and I went, that lineup is a lot better. All right, Cardinals.
That's what I thought, too.
Yeah, and then I went Cardinals, and I sent it, and then I would have been 2-2 with him, but no, I'm 1-3. Yeah, but don't worry, football-wise.
Cardinals should have got game 1, though.
Football-wise.
You can have that. It's all right.
I could have that.
I mean, the Cardinals, though, they had game 1 locked.
Yeah, but they just blew it.
They blew it because of the bullpen.
Yeah,
It's a joke.
Yeah, well, bullpens win baseball games. We can see that strictly because of the way that the Mets series went to. I know Scherzer, game 1, fluke, I feel like. It was a fluke, 7 runs off of Scherzer, right? It hasn't happened, I think, maybe in like 7 years or whatever it was. I think it was a weird stat. But game 2, DeGrom was good, I felt like, for DeGrom. DeGoat. Is that what you call him now? Is that what you call him?
I mean, he's the best pitcher I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Who's their third best pitcher?
I mean,
it's
he didn't do good.
Bassett. It was Bassett.
I think
it was Bassett.
Isn't Taijuan Walker's on that team too, right?
Taijuan Walker, yeah.
Didn't him and both Carrasco have better years than Bassett?
I thought so.
Statistically, at least I think wins-wise they did. I think wins-wise they did.
Yes, and then, but I think that they kind of went with Bassett, so that's what I was like, that's their true number 3, I guess.
I mean, Bassett he was a number 1 in Oakland. You think he'd be at least a number 3 in New York, but
Doesn't
I don't know.
look like that, at least from that.
But
that
you got to
start.
give some credit to San Diego. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you're a 100-win ball, or were the Mets 100 wins?
100 wins. Yep.
You're a 100-win ball club, and all right, here's your trophy. You get to go play the San Diego Padres. Like, I mean, that lineup's ridiculous.
That lineup is ridiculous, but you think that they would?
You don't even.
They
have
didn't look that good.
their
Like
next
when they
best
after the
player.
trade deadline, huh?
I mean, they lost for Tatis. They don't even have Tatis, and they still won this series.
They have done
Oh,
Tatis,
yeah.
but after those trades that they made for Soto and Bell, and
Soto and Bell were great pickups. I
they were
don't
great
think
pickups, but they didn't do good.
Yeah, at first.
Just having those names in the line. I mean, both those guys know the Mets though as well. I don't know what they did statistically in the division or
In those series,
in the series, but I mean, having those two guys that know these pitchers, I mean, they've been in and around that division. They know New York. They know how to beat them.
Soto in that final game went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, and Josh Bell went 1 for 5 with a run. But still, I mean, Soto batted 300 in the series.
Oh yeah.
So
That's what you traded everything for, was him to bat 300 in the playoffs.
Right.
pretty much,
I don't care how he does in the regular season. If he performs in the playoff and he helps us win games,
That's how you get paid.
That's why he got a $500 million contract.
that is true.
Like, I mean,
But you still think that this Mets team, 101 wins, like, they come in, they're not really doing so hot. Padres barely made it feel like into the playoffs, and then the Mets were just dominant all year long. It just, it seems like bullpen wins you games, and when you needed the bullpen to shine, they didn't. Edwin didn't shine. No one shined from that Mets team in that bullpen. Speaking of another game that happened with the bullpen that I guess I got to talk about,
Your favorite.
Blue Jays just choked. All right, they just choked. All right, I'm not even just gonna talk about it. It's Toronto sports at this point. All right, it's Toronto sports at this point.
They haven't been good. And I don't think
Okay.
any Toronto
The Maple
sports has been
Leafs
good
too.
since
Take away the
2019.
2019 of the Toronto Raptors.
They have nothing has been good at Toronto.
Nothing has been a shining point in that playoffs.
nope.
They were up 8-1. 8-1. They take out Gausman with the bases loaded, bottom of the 6th. You're like, okay, good situation, right? Probably should take him out. Put in your bullpen. Shouldn't have taken him out. All right, just shouldn't have taken him out.
You put the wrong pitcher in next, and that's what that.
We don't
meant.
have a bullpen. That's what it was. All right, we were relying on our starters to go 9 innings. Manoah decides to hit Julio Rodriguez the first pitch of the game, it seemed like, and it was all downhill from there. It's all downhill from there.
I don't take this personal. I'm a big fan of that Mariners team.
Everyone and their mother is a big fan of the Mariners
Dude,
team
I
right now.
love
They haven't
Julio
been in there
Rodriguez.
since what? When was the last time they made the playoffs?
It was 2001.
2001?
I think it was 2001.
Yeah.
I don't even think. What? I wasn't thought of yet.
I
was 2 years old.
I was
I was
1.
2 years old.
That was
That tell you
about
how old I
2.
am.
Was
Look, I shouldn't have told y'all that. But
Was it a thought of yet? That was funny. But yeah, no, I mean, you talk about they have 4 runs in that 6th inning. You had 8-1 lead when you took Gausman out. It was 2 outs, by the way, with bases loaded. Probably should have kept him in.
You got to keep. He's your ace. You got to keep him in.
You got to keep him in.
You paid him the big bucks.
let
Yeah,
him
you
finish
don't.
it. I mean, if he would have gave it up, okay, then after that,
Like if you give him up, like you're like, oh man, probably should have taken him out, right? Hindsight is 2020. But I feel like you take him out after he gives up that, maybe a couple runs or whatever. You're still looking at more of a favorite in your way. It's like the moment you take that ace out, I think you can speak on this, at least being in the dugout or even as a starting pitcher. You take that starting pitcher out who's been dominant, who's been very good all day long. You're like, okay, we got him now. Like we have this chance. We have this opportunity.
Oh yeah. I mean, when you have a starter that's pretty dominant or has most of the guys' numbers, and there's not really much going on offensively for the other team. I mean, you see that starter come out, and all the hitters just start drooling. They're like, yeah, he's finally out of the game. We can finally get a new look. And that's kind of when momentum starts building. I mean, again, to what I spoke earlier about Juan Soto, they paid him to be the guy. He performed in the playoffs. You paid Gausman.
Yeah,
You
at the
have
time
2 outs. Let him stay in.
At the time when he left the ball game, he had 5 hits, 1 walk, 7 Ks, and 1 earned run. The next 3 came in to score and ended up being earned runs on him.
Yeah.
But still, he had 7 Ks, 1 walk, 5 hits, and only 1 earned run given up in 5 2/3 inning the moment you pulled him.
You got to keep him in, man.
You got to finish that, yeah.
He threw game 2, right? Yeah. So
He threw game 2.
Your back is on the line. That's your guy. I mean, Manoah is probably the ace statistically this year, but you paid Gausman, what, $100 million?
The money-wise, Gausman's the ace.
Yes.
Statistic-wise, Manoah was the ace.
But Gausman still put up numbers this year. He was
great
still
numbers.
really good.
Great
So,
numbers.
He deserved to be in that spot. And you got to let him be in there. I mean, maybe it was a quick pull from the manager, but
I mean, not the one they fired midway through the season, but
yeah, they did. They fired him. You fired a manager midway through the season, but you're still in the playoffs. Like, there's something about this team that's at least still special.
I mean, their offense was
dominant against,
George Springer
especially
didn't play
against
game
lefties.
too, did he?
Yes, he did.
That's the game he got hurt in?
Yes, that was the game.
Oh, okay,
They ended up tying the game off of a bloop signal with no communication in a triangle of death. It's there's 3 triangles of deaths in the baseball field. Left field, in between the left fielder, third base, and shortstop. Center field, shortstop, second base. And then right field, first base, second base. In that little area, that's the triangle of death. It blooped right in between, like dead center of the triangle of death.
It was right in the middle. It was right in the middle.
Right in the middle. Bobichette doesn't call it. George Springer probably didn't call it, or they each called it themselves and didn't hear each other, and they collide. Runs tie the game. 2 runs come across. They tie the game, and you're like, well, just at that point, you just got to put your hands up. Like, you can't do anything about it.
we're not in Kansas anymore, boys.
But, yeah, that was a great series. I mean, the Mariners have all the magic in the world right now. That postseason magic. Because, one team always has that
I thought it was going to be
magic.
the Cardinals.
We thought it was going to be the Cardinals because the last ride and everything like that. You thought, maybe the Magic would be on the tide. No, the Mariners have all the magic in the world right now.
They're so exciting to watch, and I'm a big fan of Julio Rodriguez. I think he plays the game of baseball perfectly. He hustles hard. He steals bases. He hits home runs. He hits for average. Hell of a defender.
Yeah, he was 0 for 4 in the game too.
I mean, they still won, didn't they?
Yeah.
He's a rookie. He's a rookie still.
I know. He's a rookie still. He's going to win an MVP
it happens.
here.
Like I said, Hall of Famers, they fail.
They do.
They fail 7 times out of 10. You'll be good. You'll be good. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, that was ridiculous of a series and a game. I thought I had it all locked up, man. I was going to celebrate. I was in there and looked, and it was 9-9, and I was like, oh, God. And it was 10-9. It was just bad. But sticking with the AL side, Rays and Guardians, talk about a pitching duel. Each of them had 30-something strikeouts as a team. You struck out 30 times, you still almost 40 times, you still win a ball game.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I knew going in. I don't know if you want to talk first or not, but
No,
I knew going in it. So being a Rays fan, I knew going into that series that the Guardians is probably the one team you don't want to play. I was totally fine.
Really?
I honestly think the Guardians are going to beat the Yankees, or they're going to go. Is it a 5-game series or 7-game series? 5.
Yeah.
It's going to go all 5 games. If Bieber and McKenzie can pitch the way they can, good luck.
Yeah, McKenzie went 6 innings, so gave up 2 hits, 2 walks, 8 Ks, no earned runs, and then talking about Glasnow coming off of injury and everything.
That's so incredible.
5 innings pitched, 2 hits, 5 Ks, no walks. I mean,
he was on a pitch count too, or otherwise they probably would have kept him in there. But I mean, when it's a 0-0 ball game going into the 15th inning, I think they won in the 16th.
Yeah, the 15th. They won in the 15th.
That's wild.
That's crazy.
As a baseball player and as a baseball fan, I love that type of game because both teams are playing 110%, and it is so exciting to watch. And you're just like, man, someone's got to give. Someone's got to give.
I mean, shout out to is it Henskins? I think it's Henskins, the guy who came in for the Guardians to pitch last. He pitched 3 innings, gave up 3 hits, and struck out 6 guys and got the win.
I mean, neither team's an offensive juggernaut. We knew that coming in. They're both pitching studs and defensive studs. Those are the guys that, or the teams, let's say, that play the game gritty and play the game right, and they're gonna grind out wins. And you're gonna be frustrated with losing to them.
Yep.
But I mean, those teams were so evenly matched up because of the type of teams they were. Both of them rely so heavily on pitching and fielding, and the occasional run here and there. I mean, they just play the game so right. So, I mean, although the Rays lost 2-0, it was still, I mean, yeah, I'm pissed and yeah, I'm upset being a Rays
how
fan.
do you think I feel, man?
Hey, my team didn't even make it.
Yeah, that's the thing I got over you is at least we made it.
I'm glad they the guy stepped down, so.
Yeah.
They fired him. They definitely fired him.
They fired him on the lowest of keys. Yeah, he should have been gone.
I saw something today. I don't think the Sox are going to bring back Abreu.
Yeah. It's okay.
Cubs aren't bringing back Contreras?
Yeah,
They're going to bring him back.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
They're bringing
He's
him back.
30.
Bob
Let him
Nightingale
go get
said.
paid.
They'll bring him back.
No, they didn't.
But Jose, there's new leadership all over Chicago from both sports teams, so There needs to be something changed. A lot going on.
Do you think they is Rick Hahn still the general manager?
They should fire him
I was
and
going to
Kenny.
say, what?
But yeah, he's still.
Kenny's got to go too.
They're a tandem. It's just like Garpax. They were a tandem. They had to go to.
Man, I was so happy when they left. I mean,
look at the Bulls now. A great organization.
Talk about overstaying your welcome. Jeez.
Yes, yes. But no, today, October 10th, Cubs record. Bob Nightingale told Mike Berman, NBC on NBC Sports Chicago, that the Chicago Cubs have no intention on keeping catcher Wilson Contreras, and he will let him sign with another team this offseason. The quote was, "He's gone for sure. Cubs really have no interest in keeping him."
They're not going to do nothing with him.
So
they know that they're on another 100-year
Abreu,
drought.
long-time White Sox, gone, and Contreras, long-time Cub, going to be gone.
Okay, so if that was your plan the whole entire time during the trade deadline,
why didn't you trade him?
And you were asking for such a haul.
Yeah, they got really bad.
If you knew you weren't going to keep him, why wouldn't you just trade him for something?
That's what I said. That's what I've been saying. This entire time I have been saying, why hasn't he been traded if they're not going to re-sign him?
Check it out. You can give him a qualifying offer and then let him sign with somebody else. So then they owe you draft picks.
You're still going to get a draft pick for him.
That is such a Cubs thing to do, man. That is such a Cubs thing to do. Jed Hoyer, scheming this up in his room somewhere.
He's like, I'd rather draft somebody than take somebody.
Draft and trade for him.
No, definitely. God damn, man.
You're mad at all. Are you upset?
Well, unless they get the qualifying offer picks, but if they don't, I mean, if you knew you were going to keep him this whole time, you just wasted.
They didn't want they didn't want another Anthony Rizzo situation.
No,
from the fans.
Yeah, I guess he's going to be gone. So it's unfortunate. So both of your teams losing their
it's okay
lifelong guy.
It's all right. It's time.
It happens.
But to finish this postseason talk,
between
these four games, who's your four teams to move on into the CS?
In the CS.
You asking me?
Yeah.
Oh
no.
I don't know if you guys are talking to. Houston's being Seattle. As much as I love Seattle, I was talking about. Yeah. No one's beating
You're
Houston.
You're talking them up. You're saying how good they are, how much of a fan I am of them right now.
Think about it. They cheated. They won the World Series. They don't cheat. They're still the best team in the league. That says something about the players.
Yeah.
Like they don't.
They also have, probably the next Nolan Ryan who's going to pitch the 45 with Justin Verlander.
He's 39 and he has
He's a Cy Young. He's going to win the Cy Young this year.
He had
Yeah.
He had statistically one of the best seasons of his career. He's 39 coming off Tommy John.
Yep.
Who does that, man? So yeah, no, I just think I just don't see him beating Houston.
No, I don't see it.
Houston has been there. They're a veteran ball club. They kind of ran through everyone on the West Coast.
Yeah, there's a reason why Seattle did not win their division.
Oh yeah, no, I would say Houston. I'm looking at your thing right now. I'm trying to figure out. I'm gonna go with the Guardians. I think it's a hot take. Although I think that offense is a juggernaut, especially in their home stadium. It is hard to beat the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something about a gritty ball club that really gets me happy and really wants me to root for them. So I'm going to root for the Guardians on that one. So I'm going to go Guardians. But I'm going to go 5 games. The Braves are the hottest team in baseball right now. You're just not beating those guys. I mean, I like the Phillies a lot, but the Phillies squeaked in because the Brewers choked. Let's be honest. The Phillies were not going to get into the playoffs if the Brewers didn't choke it away.
Well, technically yes and technically no. You got to also give it up to them because they faced the Astros at the end of that season.
They played
the Astros the last week of the season
and almost
had a perfect game against the Astros to go to the playoffs.
Astros are the best team in baseball. Outside of the Dodgers, Astros are the best team in baseball. They didn't care. They got the bye. They were number 1 seed. They locked with the division. And the Braves. They're the team, especially going down this. I think it's called SunTrust Park. I think that's what it is.
Yes.
Dude, that.
I was just there like a month ago. I should know.
The Braves pretty much ran through that division. I don't know what their record was against the Phillies this year, but I'm gonna guess that it was probably good.
It was good.
So I'm gonna take the Braves in that. I think pretty easily too. And then the Padres and Dodgers. Oh, that's tough because you never.
No, it's not.
You never want to go against the Dodgers. I kind of want to go with the underdog story because I'm a big fan of Juan Soto. I love Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish on that staff, but I don't know. Is Buehler playing? Is he healthy?
No, he's out for the entire season.
He's out for the entire season?
Yeah, he was out for the entire season. unless he magically made a miraculous comeback. But I believe he was shut down for the entire season.
You know what? I've been going different this whole time. I'm going to take a hot take. Padres. Give me Padres on this.
Wow.
5 games, though.
Wow. Okay.
I honestly, if I think the Padres can steal one from the Dodgers in LA against, I mean, I think you're good. Because, I mean, you're getting Kershaw and probably Urias game 1 and 2 at Dodger Stadium.
Yes.
Good luck. That's all I'm going to say. And then 5-game series. San
You're probably
Diego,
not going to see Musgrove until game 3 until they go back home.
Game 3 is San Diego. Game 4, Gonsolin hasn't really done much in the playoffs. I don't think he's ever really been in the playoffs. Who else? Tyler Anderson. I'm not trusting him to do anything in the playoffs. So I think it's going to be 5 games. I think Juan Soto wins the series for them.
Okay.
That's probably going to be a hot take. Looking
That's
back
a
watch him get swept.
That's a hot take.
Watch them get
3
swept
games.
now. So yeah, Astros, Guardians, Braves, and Dodgers. Padres. Sorry, Padres.
I was gonna
Padres.
say,
Whoa, you just fucked your pick there.
Hey, don't pull a me here and switch last second. I guess I'll go next. Give me the Guardians. I think the Yankees are going to choke. All right, I don't like their team. I also think Aaron Judge is probably going to have the worst. I feel like it just seems like he might have the worst or the best playoff performance in the world. There's no in between. There's no in between. It's either he's going to strike out 10 times or he's going to hit 10 bombs. It's not. There's no in between. Astros and Mariners. I really want to pick the Mariners just to have them go to the World Series and be like, well, we lost to the team that went to the World Series, But I just think how we talked about that pitching staff, that team is one of the best in baseball, if not the best, at least in the American League. And that pitching staff, as much as they do struggle at times, the numbers like 3 to 5, you're not beating them. You're not beating them. They know playoff baseball. Like, that's the thing. They know playoff baseball. Like, Alex Bregman, playoff baseball player. Like, that's when he shows up. He shows up when he needs to. So I'm going to go Astros now. So Guardians, Astros. I got to go Braves. I mean, I'm wearing the hat, so I got to go Braves. As much as I want Bryce Harper to hit like 5 home runs, 6 home runs, break a record. But Braves are going to win the series. And then give me Dodgers. Dodgers is a sweep. And a sweep. They're the best team in baseball. They're the best team in baseball with 111 wins. Mookie Betts is so good. Trey Turner, Freddie Freeman.
This Dodgers team always choke, though.
I just want to be different. So my roommate Tim Davern, he's a Dodgers fan. Rob's team already lost, and the Cardinals. Tim was talking shit to me when the Rays lost and the Cubs didn't make the playoffs. So I wanted the Padres actually. I want to see Tim lose.
I want to see Tim lose. I got Dodgers, Braves, and then I'm gonna go with Guardians and Astros. Myron, with all of our points that we were given.
Look, I don't know baseball like that, but I just know teams and names. I play MLB The Show 22. So look, for what I know, I'm going to Yankees versus the Guardians, without a doubt.
Okay.
My boy Aaron Judge is going to get playoff MVP. Seattle versus the Astros. Gotta go Team Stiller, cheaters, the Astros here.
Okay.
And then Atlanta versus Philly. Philly's not going to stand a chance. They're going to get swept. And so I'm going to go with Atlanta. And this is the one I've been trying to decide on what I wanted to do here. San Diego, I chose you to lose versus the Mets. You proved to me otherwise. The Dodgers always tend to choke. Clayton Kershaw sometimes pitches well, and sometimes doesn't.
He most of the time doesn't, but yeah.
And I think if they can win the game that he starts, LA loses, so I'm going to go San Diego.
You're going to go San Diego? All right, I gotta be.
I like that pick.
At least
I like that pick. I hope you lose, Jake. I hope you lose.
Come on, man. Dodgers are gonna sweep them. I'm telling you right now, they're gonna sweep them.
I don't know about a sweep, but I think they're gonna get one.
Nah, they're gonna choke. I knew what's gonna happen too. It's gonna be Josh Hader that chokes it for them. Josh Hader's gonna choke it for them. He was so bad the second half, so he's gonna choke it for him.
Talk about a weird trade, though. I mean, I don't know if you guys talked about that, but Rogers. Was it Taylor Rogers or Tyler? I get it mixed up.
It was Taylor.
It was Taylor?
It was Taylor.
Taylor Rogers and prospects for...
Actually, no, I may be wrong. I think Taylor Giants. I think Taylor plays for the Giants. So I'm going to go Tyler.
Tyler?
I think it's Tyler.
I get them all. It's one of the
They're
Rogers.
twins.
It's one of the Rogers twins.
It's one of the Rogers
twins.
twins.
It's the lefty, right?
Oh yeah, because one. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
One was a righty, one was a lefty.
Yes, he was a lefty. He was a lefty.
yeah.
So whoever the lefty Rogers is, I think it's Tyler, because I think Taylor is the one that submarines from the Giants. So I'm gonna go with Taylor.
I think the one in
Tyler.
the Brewers now, the
Yeah.
old Padres guy, I think he's sidearm.
Oh my
I
g-
could be wrong. No.
This is why I
Oh my
hate.
God.
This is why I hate brothers in the MLB because
they
especially
pitch the
twins,
exact
especially
same,
when they
man.
look alike and
They're identical. They're
The
identical.
only thing they don't do is throw the same.
Yep.
or from the same side. I just don't know the difference.
I just don't know which one it is. But yeah, it was for him and then another player, I believe, as
I just
well,
don't
in like a
understand
prospect. And I was like, as a Brewers fan, you have to be like confused.
You're throwing in the white towel after the All-Star break.
And then you still had a chance to make it to the playoffs, but you end up choking that away. And so, like, if you had Josh Hader, maybe you can say hindsight 2020, he had a bad second half, right, and was one of the worst relievers in baseball. But if he doesn't make that transition and that change to San Diego, maybe he still's on that run of the scoreless streak and, is going to break a record for the most scoreless innings as a relief pitcher and, just be the best relief pitcher in baseball like he was. He continues that. You make the playoffs. You may win your
my
division
God,
against
yeah.
the Cardinals with that
Oh,
run.
yeah.
So, yeah,
I mean,
I'm
it
with
happened. You had 11 months of where you did not let a run.
you. Mm-hmm.
Baseball, it evens out.
It does.
I mean, baseball, the average is there for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Who do you have winning the World Series out of these four?
Jeez, that's tough. Out of the four that I just picked,
Yep, out of the four you just picked.
Astros over whoever comes out of the. I'm going to say Padres. Astros over the Padres, but whoever comes out of the Padres-Dodgers series is going to make it to the World Series.
Okay.
So Astros over whoever makes out of that series.
Okay. Me and Myra will definitely talk about this next week.
Yeah, next week.
Closer when we get to World Series times.
Ah.
All right, Myron, what is your pick for the World Series? Because by the time, so who do you have out of your four teams? You have the Padres, the Braves, the Yankees, and the Astros. Who's making it to the World Series? Who's winning?
Yankees will make it over the Astros.
Wow.
And the Braves will make it again. This
Rematch
series
of
is going to
the-
go seven games.
Rematch of the what? 90. It was 99, 98 World Series.
You
I
know
think it
that off
was.
the top of your head?
That's crazy.
I didn't even know that.
I couldn't have,
I didn't
told
even
you
know
that.
that.
I didn't even know
Know
they
that?
played
No.
ever.
I believe
did
it was that Core Four's like first ring or second ring. Yeah,
Okay.
I know that from the
Jeter's?
Jeter documentary.
Oh, well,
So
that's
that's-
you didn't
you're
know that.
cheating.
Yeah, you cheated that. You cheated that.
I know that from the
And
Jeter documentary.
Your World Series champion in Game 7 playing in New York will be the New York Yankees.
Man, this makes me want to root against the Yankees now.
Yeah, this makes me really want to root against the Yankees. I guess I'll give my
No,
pick
I'm
as
kidding,
well.
I'm kidding.
So I've had a coin flip on this one a lot. I think the Astros are going to make it. I think the Astros are going to make it. They're the best team. They're going to I mean, the Yankees are going to choke. That's what the Yankees do. They haven't won a World Series since 2009. They're going to choke. At least in my eyes.
Relax. Get off that.
Now I'm really hoping they choke after that. No, for this one, Braves versus Dodgers is such a toss-up. Braves have such young core that, they're going to be in the postseason in the NLCS for the next 10 years, it seems like, at this point.
Money will be the issue eventually.
No, it won't. They locked everybody up from
besides Freddie Freeman.
they left Freddie Freeman.
He-
We don't
he
talk about
hate-
the
he
agent. The
hates it.
agent really messed him
He
up there.
hates it there.
That's messed up. that
Yeah,
whole
the
story in
agent
itself.
really messed him up there. But they locked everybody up, I think, from 2028 to 2033.
The Braves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're fine. Then. Never mind.
You got it. I could list the whole entire roster. And
They're all
They're-
locked up to 2028, pretty much.
They're stud players, too.
Like
Harris,
Austin
Acuna,
Riley.
Albies, Riley. I don't know if Fried is Strider now.
Fried.
Yeah,
Yep.
Fried, Matt Olson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, jeez.
Just know down the entire lineup. Michael Harris also.
Yeah, stud.
Yeah.
Stud.
So I want to pick them.
Just go with your gut.
But I got to go with the Dodgers. I originally picked them to be in the World Series way back at the beginning of the year. They were going to face the Blue Jays. That didn't really happen. But I'm going to have to go with the Dodgers over the Astros. Revenge series. It's going to mean a lot more for some of those guys. And they're going to win it probably they're going to win it at home. They're going to win it at home. I don't know what game that would be just because of the records and stuff like that. I believe that would be game
I assume
5.
Dodgers will get home field. They don't do it by the
Yeah, so
by
it'd be
the All-Star
either
game anymore, do
game
they?
5 or game 7. they'll win it at home. It's
I
gonna
like
be
a
good.
7-game World Series.
Yep.
I'd love a
I
7-game
love
World
a
Series.
7-game World Series. You got anything else, Myron?
No, I'm struggling over it.
I know you are. You are. Thank you for at least making it
Always.
to the podcast today. Thank you, Ryan, so much.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. I love talking to you guys. Hopefully we can do this again soon, maybe during the season. Who knows?
Definitely.
During
Hope
the
so.
season, we may be ramping up episodes because of your schedule of football will be a lot less.
A lot less. Yeah, I mean,
Schedule will be a lot less. So hopefully we can ramp up a little bit more and maybe do a little bit like a special thing, with hopefully maybe you, weekly sort of just a recap of stuff.
Yeah, that'd
we
be
got big
awesome.
plans. We have big plans.
That'd be
big
awesome.
plans.
everything's in the talks, in the works. Don't worry.
You want to end it here, or you got no energy to end it?
If you want, I'm out of it. You can end it today.
All right, I'm gonna end it like you do every single time.
That's perfectly fine with me.
As Myron always says, and that's a wrap.